And it also includes yoga. And it truly is about finding inner peace through meditation, through the awareness of the breath. And John made it very practical. And there is formal meditation, and Raj asked me if I would lead a meditation. And I'm going to say a few words first, and we'll see how this goes. And there's formal meditation, which we'll do, and then there's informal meditation. In other words, how to go through the day being completely present as best you can. A good definition of mindfulness is moment-to-moment present-centered awareness. Now, many of you may know of Thich Nhat Hanh. One of his many books was Peace is Every Step. And in that book, he speaks about things like peeling orange meditation, washing dishes meditation, telephone meditation, perhaps speaking meditation. So the idea is to go through your day present for whatever is. And that can be quite a challenge. And one of the teachings that I picked up along the way from Anthony de Mello, who some of you may know of, he was a Jesuit priest from India, who essentially was teaching Vipassana the last 15 years of his life. And he has a distinction of being the only person in the history of the Catholic Church who was ever banned posthumously. But the nuns in Rome, and he was very popular throughout the world, and the nuns in Rome found a little known statement of the canon law of the Catholic Church: you can't ban somebody who can't defend himself. And Tony had been dead 11 years. And it truly was his openness to all spiritual traditions and his focus on Vipassana. I think that really got him in trouble with the Vatican. And one of his teachings is that you don't have to look for inner peace. You don't have to look for love. You don't have to look for happiness, because you already have it. And so rather than looking for happiness, look for when you are unhappy, when you are not at peace. And when you do that, and the only way I know to do that is from a place of awareness, and that's where the mindfulness comes in. You will notice that if you're upset about anything, it has to do with having an attachment, which is the root of suffering from the Buddhist perspective. And that attachment comes from your conditioning. And so with awareness and understanding and with acceptance, love, you're able to notice your attachments, and they will start to subside, and you return to that place of inner peace, which is always there for you. So I find that to be very helpful as I go through the day. So and to do that, you need to know what that is like to experience that peace. So with that, I'd like to lead you in a short mindfulness meditation, and I think formal meditation is the simplest way to really know what that sense of peace is like, so that you can return to it. And the breath is so important in the practice. And the breath is sacred in every spiritual tradition that I know. A century prayer is the Christian form of mindfulness as I see it, and Father Thomas Keating was the modern-day father of century prayer. And the instruction is to choose a sacred word, or parenthetically, you could choose the breath. And so I was living in Madison, Wisconsin. My wife and I went down to Chicago to see him for a weekend workshop. And at the first break, I went up to him. And I said, Father Keating, I don't use the sacred word, I use the breath. He was a tall man, about 6'4", and he just leaned over me and he says, the breath is God. So you can look at it that way if you like, about the breath. And of course the word spirit comes from the Latin word spirare, which means to breathe. So the practice of meditation using the breath is getting in touch with the spirit within, if you like. Okay, so I'd like you now to just sit comfortably. I suggest having your feet flat, grounding yourself, and have your hands on your lap, palms up or down, or resting one palm in the other. And gently closing the eyes if you're comfortable doing so. And simply becoming aware that you're being breathed. Nothing for you to do here. Simply being aware. Being aware of the breath coming in through the nostrils, flowing down the throat, down the windpipe, and filling the lungs. So the diaphragm, which sits at the base of the lungs, is gently pushing out the abdomen, pushing out the belly. So the belly is rising and then falling with each breath, rising and then falling. Nothing else to do in this moment. No place else to go, simply being present with the gentle, constant flow of the breath that is always there for you, no matter what is happening, inside of you or outside of you. You may always return home to the breath, and keeping the belly soft, dissolving all cares and concerns in soft belly. And as you're sitting here, doing your best to focus on the flow of the breath in the body, you may notice how the mind jumps around from one thought to the next. Thoughts about the past, what you may have done this week or this morning, or what it took for you to get here. Thoughts about the future. What the rest of our gathering may be like. What you'll do later today, this weekend. Worries, concerns, anticipations. What thoughts about right now? That this is relaxing, or this is difficult for me to get into, or I know that I'm not meditating right. Whatever the thought, simply notice it and letting it go as if a cloud just passing through the mind, and gently, firmly returning your attention to the breath, to the belly. Rising, then falling, rising, then falling. Riding the breaths as if riding the waves of the ocean. And as you're sitting here, the mind may very well go to sounds. Sounds inside the room here, and sounds from outside. When this happens, simply noticing the sound and letting it pass, And then gently returning your attention to the breath, to the belly, rising and then falling, rising and then falling. And now simply resting in the breath, resting in the quiet. And being aware that you may return to an inner state of calmness, an inner peace at any moment of the day, regardless of what is happening all around you or inside of you, simply by paying attention to the breath. The in-breath, followed by the out-breath. The belly gently rising and then falling, rising and then falling, as you're simply breathing in and breathing out. Always being able to come home to the breath. And now preparing to be present in the room again, you may wish to wiggle your fingers and toes, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, and on your own time, when you're ready, gently opening the eyes and feeling relaxed, alert, and present here in the room. Mahalo. Namaste.